Before I begin, I would just like to thank Aaron for recommending this video to me. I kind of wanted to do something like this, but wasn't sure how to really go about it. But thanks to his recommendation, I was able to put together a video that I'm pretty proud of, so hopefully, you guys enjoy it. Hello, loyal fans and subscribers, ninamorifanboi here. Or rather, I feel as if I should say goodbye, loyal fans and subscribers. As you're probably aware, the Generation 6 Pokemon games, aka the thing that brought even the slightest bit of attention to this channel, will become obsolete in less than 5 days from the time I'm recording this. If I'd have to guess, I'd say many of you are likely excited, as am I, for the new 7th Gen games, yet I can't help but feel a bit sad to see the end of Gen 6. I've decided to dedicate this entire video to lamenting the end of Gen 6 and reminiscing about all the memorable experiences I've had with it. If no one else watches this, I'll completely understand. This video is more of a personal farewell to the generation, so I'm not really expecting anyone else to feel the same ways I do and or perhaps not even be interested in it at all. Essentially, I'm just making this video for myself. If you'd like to watch though, feel free to. To begin, I'd like to explain how I got into competitive battling in the first place. Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl. My cousin/rival Tyler and I had known about the more competitive aspects of the games for a while before then, but never really decided to try it for ourselves until that time. The physical special split, the new Wi-Fi feature, and the plethora of new evolutions to old pokes were just some of the reasons for wanting to start. I only vividly remember having one battle against him. I used a team with Salamence, yes, this was before it went to Ubers, Sceptile, Articuno, Blastoise, and 2 other mons that I can't really remember at the moment, against his team consisting of Salamence, Raichu, Rhyperior, and 3 other mons I can't remember. The final turns came down to Articuno vs Rhyperior. Victory should have easily been his, but he missed 2 Stone Edges in a row, allowing my Articuno to secure victory after landing 2 Ice Beams. The point of this story, other than to proclaim a victory over Ty, was to demonstrate my use of mons that I liked to use, as opposed to mons that were considered good or standard, etc. I didn't battle many other players, and when I did, I lost pretty badly because of this, and then I stopped playing when Smogon banned Ments to Ubers, so yeah. Now we move on to 5th Gen. Again, I only remember having one battle, also against Ty. I had a team prepared and ready to use against him consisting of Gothitelle, Virizion, and 4 others I can't remember. But as it turned out, the mechanics from the previous gen, where it would automatically raise you to level 100, they no longer applied, so I couldn't even use the team I planned and instead had to resort to a team similar to the one I used against him in Gen 4. I was easily defeated because of this, being unable to use any of the newer mons that he had access to. Again, the point of this story is to demonstrate my team, consisting of my favorite mons as opposed to standard ones. I knew there was a metagame where those standard mons were used consistently, but I just didn't pay attention to it. I was content with using my favorite mons to try to win battles, as that was the most fun and rewarding to me. Anyway, that was the last battle I had 5th Gen. For some reason, I just didn't really enjoy that generation, and I guess I just stopped playing competitively after that battle. During summer of 2012, I took a hiatus from gaming in general. I've been known to do this occasionally. I just become overwhelmed with things and decide to cut out gaming from my life, with the intent of doing so permanently, but it never is. I always come back within a year tops. By spring 2013, I was interested in gaming again, which was just in time to get hyped for Generation 6. When October came and I finally got the game, I was astonished to see how much of the game I was actually enjoying. The in-game story was nice, the references all over the place were fun to see, the new wonder trading was hilarious. Overall, it was an even better experience than I expected. I knew it'd only be a matter of time before I tried the competitive battling this gen had to offer. I had my first battle against my cousin/rival Tyler once again. I've already explained this battle in detail, because neither of us were able to save the battle video ironically, and if you'd like to hear my original thoughts on it without being spoiled, I'll leave the annotation right now, which will open a new video where I discuss the situation. The link to this is also in the description. Anyway, after this experience, I knew I wanted more battles, and the new easy-to-use Wi-Fi battling feature would make this significantly easier than the old days of trying to get people's friend codes. If I edited this video correctly, right now you should be viewing the footage from my very first 6-on-6 quote-unquote competitive battle since that enigmatic match versus Ty. As you can tell, neither myself nor my opponent have really demonstrated skills of a good battler, but once again I have to point out that the team I'm using once again consists of mons that I liked as opposed to standard or good mons, and if you've seen my uploaded Wi-Fi battles, you'll know that remained true for a significant amount of time. I don't actually recommend watching many of my older battle videos, particularly my entire X playlist, just because I felt I've improved so much since then, not just with battling but narrating, filming the video, etc. But that's to be expected after doing this for over 2 years. Saying that out loud really puts time into perspective. I spent over 2 solid years playing and enjoying competitive Pokemon, more so than I had ever done before. This was likely due to multiple factors, but at the end of the day, I think it's safe to say that Gen 6 is the first time that I truly delved into the world of competitive Pokemon. As I was saying earlier, for a long time I would only use mons that I liked as opposed to ones that were quote-unquote good or standard. It wasn't until early 2015 that my attitude shifted from only wanting to use my favorite mons to a more all-around competitive mindset, also wanting to include mons that were good or standard in my teams. I made an entire video about this too. Once again, I'll leave an annotation as well as a link in the description if you're interested in watching this. The reason for this change in my attitude came from watching other competitive battlers on YouTube. After witnessing how passionate they could be even using mons that they might not have been fans of, I felt more content to start using mons that I wasn't particularly a fan of. Some examples of these mons that I would now consider using would be Garchomp, Talonflame, Gengar, Scizor, stuff like that. None of which I hated, but I never really cared for any of them until I started to use them competitively, at which point I began to really like them. This is the point at which I feel I reached a certain threshold, and the point where I feel comfortable considering myself to be a true competitive battler. I've felt I've passed other thresholds since this as well, such as early 2016 when I began to properly team build, but this point is truly the most significant, I feel. So I've basically rambled about nothing this whole time so far. As for what I'm getting at, I'll relay you back to the original suggestion. How about your opinion on this generation's meta, how it changed you and the community with its progression over time, and perhaps the legacy it has given? Was it worth the ride? So to begin with my opinion on the metagame, I want to say that I never paid attention to the standard metagame until I passed that threshold in 2015, and never actually started to make conclusions and adequately try to understand it until later that year. That being said, I feel I've only been part of the active Smogon meta for about a year, and in my opinion not much has really changed throughout the year. By that time, Clef and Thunderwave pretty much ran the game, and as far as I can see, that's still true today. I've seen the slight change of things, such as Hoopa and Shadow Tag being allowed and then banned. I've seen certain mons getting bumped up to OU after being used on certain team archetypes or certain teams. I've seen mons that I liked but hadn't seen much of in a while start getting used a lot again, including Mega Medicham and Bellydrum Azumarill. I was there when every single Garchomp in the game was the Tank Chomp set with Rocky Helmet, and then when everyone used Rocky Helmet Landorus instead, hashtag Team Scald. As far as my opinion on the meta, I'd say it had plenty that I could enjoy, as well as a fair share that I wasn't quite so fond of, but overall I'd give my praise about it. As far as how it's changed me, I'd say the biggest change I've gone through was passing that threshold I mentioned in 2015. I haven't seen a change in the community. The offensive players still play aggressively, the stall players still play stall, the condescending upper echelon still flaunt their superiority, everyone still hates getting haxed, and is very vocal about it. So yeah, the community doesn't seem to be any different, and I wouldn't have it any other way. As far as a legacy, I think the following mons describe Gen 6 perfectly. Landorus, Rotom, Mega Scizor, Lottie, Os or Os, Keldeo, with the undisputed Clefable sitting at the top of the throne. These are just 6 mons that I feel are Gen 6. Hilariously enough, you could probably throw these 6 together and have it work as a team. As for the question, was it worth the ride? I'd say absolutely. I've sunk so much time into competitive Gen 6, probably more than I'm proud to admit, but I can't say that I regret doing it. Gen 6 has truly been a phenomenal experience for me, and I'll definitely miss it when it ends. Not just because I'm not so fond of some things that I'm hearing about Gen 7, RIP Gengar and Talonflame, but in general, I feel like I'm going to miss some of the enjoyment I felt from this generation. I don't know. I'm not very good at concluding videos, but I'd just like to say farewell and thank you to the Generation 6 Pokemon games, as well as anyone still watching this video. With any luck, I'll have my first Gen 7 battle in due time, and become as much of a fan as I was of Gen 6. Until then, thank you for watching, and have a good day.